Welcome back to How to Retire. I am Scott Newhouse. I'm excited that you are watching this video so that we can learn how to be tax savvy with something called asset location. Before we talk about exactly what that is, let's go to our quote from this episode, which is from Arthur Godfrey, and he says, "I am proud to be paying taxes in the United States. The only thing is, I could be just as proud for half the money." Now, I can't guarantee that we're going to cut your tax bill in half, but if we use asset location wisely, we can definitely be really tax smart and make sure that you're not paying any extra in taxes than you need to. So I'm going to try and explain what asset location is, and I need to make a few points before I get my main point across. The first thing that we need to know about asset location is that every different investment account has different tax treatment. So there's three main account types, which are taxable accounts, like your joint account that you have with the spouse, an individual account. Those are both taxable accounts. Then we have tax deferred, like your traditional IRA, your traditional 401k. Those are tax deferred. And then we have tax-free accounts like your Roth IRA and your HSA, your health savings account. All three of those account types have different tax treatment. Okay, so I hope that's clear enough. And so simply stated, with asset location, you do not want the same investments in each of those three accounts. Why? Because there's different tax treatment. And so you just want to take advantage of the tax treatment that each of them have to offer so that you're maximizing your potential investment return while minimizing your tax liability. Okay, so let's go into specifics, and I'm hoping this is jiving with you and you are following along. So how are accounts taxed? Your taxable accounts, the joint and the individual brokerage accounts, if you have an investment in there that you've owned for over a year, it qualifies for long-term capital gains tax rates, which are lower than your ordinary income tax rate. So that's a really big benefit of holding your stocks for over a year in your taxable accounts. Now, your tax-deferred accounts, typically you put the money in and you get some kind of deduction on your taxes. In some cases, not in every case. The money grows tax-free, and then when you take it out in retirement, ideally, you pay ordinary income tax rates on those distributions. That's tax deferred. Get the deduction going in, grows tax-free, take it out, you pay ordinary income taxes. And then our third account type is tax-free. And now the Roth IRA and the HSA, they have different rules to them. But with the Roth IRA, let's just start with that. You pay taxes when you make the money. It grows tax-free once it goes into that account. And then when you distribute that money from your Roth IRA, you actually don't have to pay taxes because you paid taxes up front. And so that's a really great benefit about the Roth IRA. You get that you pay those taxes right away, and you don't have to worry about it again. And now HSA actually has some better tax benefits to it, in the sense that you make a contribution and it's eligible and you're following all the rules. You get a tax deduction in the current year, grows tax-free, and then you can take it out as long as you use it for qualified medical expenses after the age of 65 with no taxes at all. So HSA is an amazing account, but it's not for everyone. So those are how taxable, tax deferred, and tax-free distributions are taxed. And so let's talk specifically how we can use asset location to benefit us. And what we want to do, again, is we want to put different investments in each of those three investment account types. So your taxable accounts, the joint and individual accounts, you typically want to have stocks and higher potential growth investments in there, and you hold them for over a year. And then when you need to sell them, when you want to sell them, you get to pay the lower capital gains tax, long-term capital gains tax rate. And so that's a great benefit. With your tax deferred accounts, your traditional IRA and your traditional 401k, you typically want less tax efficient investments like bonds, REITs, and actively managed investment accounts in those types of accounts. And the reason for that is because if you are owning bond funds or REITs that are paying out dividends or distributions on a regular basis, if that's in a taxable account, it's typically taxed at your ordinary income tax rate. But If it's in a tax deferred account, there's no taxes on those distributions because it's paying out, as kind of a dividend to you. So you don't have to pay any taxes on that. And then when you pull from it, it's just taxed at ordinary income. Whereas if you had it in taxable, it would be taxed at ordinary income as well. But that means that you'd have less money that you can put in stocks, which are getting the capital gains tax rates. I hope that makes sense. You want capital gains tax rates in the taxable accounts, which means you need more stocks in there. And then for the bonds that we want to hold on to, and most retirees definitely want to have some bonds in their portfolio. If we can, we want to put those in our tax deferred accounts because that's just the best place tax-wise for those bonds to be. And then in terms of tax-free accounts, the Roth IRA, the HSA, we want stocks and higher potential growth investments in there. Because if you've paid taxes in your Roth IRA contribution already, and that investment grows really rapidly and it grows really well over 20 to 40 years, you don't want to have to pay taxes on that big amount that it's grown, which you would have to pay taxes on the distributions in a tax deferred account. But with the tax free account, it's just going to grow tax free, and then you follow all the rules, you take it out tax free. Whew. All right, so I hope you're following along in terms of what investments we want in each of those account types. If this isn't following, please put a comment in YouTube down below, and I'll try and explain it better, or maybe watch this video again. And now I do have to throw in a couple big disclaimers on this. First one is our politician, and actually this is the only big disclaimer, our politicians may change tax rates in the future. And so I can give you best practices that I see in terms of asset location in 2023. I have no idea what's going to happen in 2024, 2027, 2030. Absolutely no clue. In 2021 and in 2022, there were multiple proposals by politicians to increase that capital gains tax rate in those taxable accounts to ordinary income levels. It did not occur, but I have no idea what the future is going to hold. So you've really got to be mindful about if tax rates do change in the future for tax deferred, for Roth IRAs, for taxable accounts. If that changes, everything that I've said in this video might and likely will change as well. And I'll try and update the video if that happens. But you've got to be mindful about what our politicians in DC are doing, how that is affecting tax rates, and then how that changes your asset location philosophy in terms of what investments to have in what different account types. Now, our recap for this somewhat complicated episode is that hypothetically, if you and your spouse wanted to have 70% in stocks and 30% in bonds in your overall portfolio, asset location means that you don't necessarily want to have 70-30 split of stocks to bonds in every single account that you have. So maybe you want to overweight stocks in your Roth IRA and then overweight bonds in your tax deferred so that overall it's 70-30, but you don't need necessarily 70-30 in every single account. And so that's the main gist that I'm trying to get across in this video. Also, another big point I'm trying to get across is that different assets should have a different home. They might all have a place in your home, but you want them in different account types. You also need to keep an eye on current and future tax laws as well as inheritance laws, which are also going to be changed by politicians, because if those change, the recommendations that I would make are definitely going to change as well. So I hope you enjoyed and really understood this kind of more complicated topic, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.